It has been every single week. I don't even know what's going on anymore, but I'm going to tell you what's going on this show tonight. We're going to be talking about the Secret Service Director Cheatle's testimony on Capitol Hill. Hint, she had no answers. We got new video in the Trump assassination attempt. We have proof of life from Biden, and Kamala's in and Biden's out. There's so much to talk about right after this.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
We don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet. Wait a minute, I tell you ain't heard nothing.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell! I'm not going to take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna
take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
Puppet Carlson, I don't know. Welcome to the David Pollack Show. I don't know what's going on with my puppet. We'll figure that out here in a second. But guys, I'm telling you what, like I told you before the opening, it has been just the most insane week ever in the whole world. It has just been Biden's out, which just happened. Trump almost gets assassinated last Saturday. Biden gets out of this race. Kamala's in. Nobody's seen or heard from Biden since he had COVID, when he's walking all slow up and down his stairs. Then we hear from Kamala today. I'm going to play these clips for you in a few minutes. And then apparently Biden, whether it's really Biden or not, he goes and makes an appearance at this press conference. Now, this morning, all we hear is rumors of Biden being sick. We hear Kamala is going off to Delaware. So now we're like, oh my God, it's just Biden stepping down from the presidency too. It's just been the craziest day. Of course, this morning we had the Director Cheatle testimony over at Capitol Hill, where she answered no questions. And it has just been the craziest day ever, or the craziest week ever. I don't know if you've been on vacation for the last 7 days, you might have come home to an America that is just in chaos. But hey, would you expect anything else? It's 2024 in the presidential election year. Puppet, how was the ventriloquist festival?
It was great, Dave.
Whatever it was.
It was great, Dave. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Great. Yeah, the convention was great. I met some hot puppets there.
Did you?
Few phone numbers and told them I was the host of a political talk show. Really went over well.
Did they believe you?
Yeah, I think the tie helps.
Yeah. I saw you met some interesting figures too. I saw you met there was a puppet Joe Biden. I think I saw it. A puppet Donald Trump.
Joe Biden, who's actually a puppet, and the real who should be the president, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah. Well, he is the president. He's always going to be the president. And he's getting president again soon. So I'm sure your manhole is exhausted. And but we're happy to have you back.
Worn out.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, now you're in this weird, undisclosed location somewhere. We'll get you back in your studio next week, and I know our viewers have missed you. for sure. What a week to go away, by the way, Puppet.
I know. I'm so annoyed. The 1 week I decide to go to a conference, all political hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Miss some of the biggest stories of the year here.
Yeah, insane. And but you know what? Are you surprised? Did you expect anything else?
But I will say I have been following everything that's going on. I just haven't been able to post on X.
Oh, well, it has been. You got suspended for a while. Are you out of the naughty box or whatever?
No, right before I left, I was suspended for 6 days. Then I left. I think I was 1 day back in. Then I left and haven't really even been able to open X hardly. But I've been consuming the news via other sources.
Yeah, well, it has been quite a time to be away. Well, let's just get right into it, Puppet. So, so there's proof of life today, right? I'm going to show you this clip. Yeah, no, this was proof of life. So here, now remember, Biden issues, you know what, let's put up the letter. This was, I guess, the tweet heard around the world. Here, check it out.
Who announces they're not going to be the candidate via a tweet?
Biden. So here, look, this is it. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Seems weird.
So yeah, basically he says, that it's been in all their lives to serve. He's going to speak to the nation later this week. This was the indication we got that Joe Biden is no longer running for re-election, right? This was the letter. Now, mind you, nobody has seen him. He hasn't spoken to anybody. What president of the United States that decides they're not seeking re-election announces that he's doing that by like a letter on a tweet that people are even saying, now again, you got to get your tinfoil sharpened for this one. People are saying that it wasn't even him that did it. Like somebody put it out just to kind of force the issue. Like it was a big setup. What do you think about that, Puppet?
Yeah, well, I've heard everything from the signatures don't match. I've heard that the many people on his team in the White House didn't even know the letter was coming out. So I've heard those things.
Yeah.
I'm no handwriting forensics expert or anything. I didn't check the details of the signature or anything like that. But man, I got to tell you, it's so bizarre that nothing surprises me anymore with these folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going on, and we'll talk about it later on in the show about all the assassination conspiracy theories that don't really seem like conspiracy theories anymore. But certainly, I'm gonna go to the proof of life because everybody's been asking, where's Biden? Everybody's been saying, is he alive? This is what people are finding. You have to live in like a twilight zone of a world where you don't know if people are legitimately asking if the president's alive. And then there was some speculation today that maybe he was sick or terminally ill. A few different sources were reporting. Right. And people believe, this is where we're at. Like people think, yeah, that makes sense. Biden's probably terminally ill because we haven't seen him since supposedly had COVID. But then his doctor puts out a statement saying he's fine, everything's great. But yet we don't hear him or see from him. And by the way, and I'm going to show this to you, there's a lot of things that have made me upset. Regardless, while Joe Biden's in president. Now, Israel's at war. They've been at war since October 7th. They're fighting a terrorist group that has slaughtered thousands of their people. We've sent a lot of money and a lot of support over to this country. They're our closest ally in the region. And this is what happens when President Netanyahu comes to the United States. Now, Zelensky, they roll out the red carpet for. They give him whatever he wants in his green tank top, sweatshirt, whatever he's going to wear for his Dancing with the Stars thing. Now, this is what happened today when Netanyahu shows up. you can't really make out the audio, but he looks pretty upset, doesn't he? He gets down the airplane steps and he's like, "Where's President Biden? Where's Vice President Harris?
Right.
Where's Blinken?" Nobody was there to greet him. He just walks off the airplane like he was going to vacation in the United States. What a disrespectful way to handle our closest ally in the Middle East. What do you think about that, Puppet?
Dude, I honestly can't believe it. I mean, obviously, we could kind of understand why Biden might not be there, being that the excuse is that he has COVID and he's kind of, hibernating, in the, whatever the deprivation chamber that they put him in, when he's
his Bacta tank.
Quick recoup him. But at least Harris should have been there.
Yeah.
Blinken, somebody.
Yeah, he should have been. It's so embarrassing, and what a way to treat our closest ally. It's embarrassing, to be honest with you. Yeah, but so everyone assumes Biden must be dead, right? Kamala, while Netanyahu's coming off of his airplane, Kamala's not available because she is at a campaign event in Delaware at the campaign headquarters, because that's more important than greeting your closest ally in the Middle East who's at war. What a way to start your campaign, Kamala. And here's our proof of life. Now, I'm going to go first to the first sighting of Joe Biden, and then we'll hear what cackling Kamala, as Trump calls her now, laughing Kamala, has to say about it. But here is the very first.
He comes up with better names.
Yeah. I like cackling Kamala. Laughing Kamala works too. But I like the alliteration of cackling Kamala. So here's what we're going to do. We are going. Thanks, Maven, for all of the love over there on Pilled. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to hear the first statement Biden makes since he gets out of the race, and then we'll hear what Kamala Harris has to say that's so important that you can't meet our closest ally on the tarmac. Check it out.
Julie, if I didn't have COVID, I'd be sitting there with you, standing there with you. I'm so proud of what you've all done. And but this COVID keeping me out of people's hair for the next 3 or 4 days. But I'm going to be on the road, and I'm not going anywhere. It's kept me away a little bit, but I want people to remember that what we have done has been incredible, and we get so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly. And I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing, help me get this nomination, help me win the nomination, and then go on to win the presidency. But you're an amazing team. But we've got a great. I think we made the right decision. I know how hard.
That's the first announcement, the first time he speaks publicly since getting at his campaign headquarters over the phone to probably 10 people in the room. That's the first we hear of him. Now here is
so odd again, right? Like, why wouldn't you just, if you can speak, why wouldn't you speak to the American people?
It's ridiculous. And now here is cackling Kamala.
You guys, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Can we just give it up again for my husband? It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. So do we. And we do. Everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. So,
man,
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you. It's
so genuine. Didn't you get the sense that was so genuine, Dave?
It was. Oh, I love you, Joe.
Oh my God. We love Jill and Joe.
Oh, yeah, it was so ridiculous. I think you broke your neck, Puppet. You're like frozen. Here's the deal, man. That sounded like an AI voice, right?
I was gonna say, you know they can do that with AI now.
Yeah, that was the most AI. That's what the controversy is coming from. That's like the most AI thing in history. But anyway, so instead of meeting our closest ally at a time of war, Kamala was there authentically and genuinely thanking Joe Biden for bestowing upon her a nomination, by the way. She did so poorly when she ran for president that she didn't even make it to the primaries. She was polling so low in her state that she just said, I'm not going to run. That's how much people dislike her. Now, they make her vice president because, of course, she checks all the boxes. She's queen whatever I want to be. If you remember that from the Lego movie, too. I'm not going to sing it for you. But she's queen whatever I want to be. You know, she wants to be East Asian, island, Pacific, or Caribbean, black, whatever. She checks all the boxes. The only thing she isn't is lesbian, but I'm sure she can come out with that at some point, too.
Sure. I mean, that could happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it could definitely. So that's the only box they haven't checked yet. So maybe we'll get there.
Have you heard the conspiracy theory about that video you just played?
Which one?
Well, the fact that she says that she knows that he's on, and she almost sounds like she's gonna say recording, and then goes on to say call.
I mean, it does feel a little bit like that. What is that movie, Ferris Bueller, where he has the tape player? He's like, I'm too sick to go. Like, because if you do play that video a little bit further, he does sort of say, you hear him like, repeat it. Proud of you, kid. It almost sounds exactly the same. Maybe I'll cue that. I don't know if I'll have time to grab that over the break.
Yeah, you got to re-listen to the beginning of that where she goes, oh, Joe, you're on the call.
So weird. Oh, God. So now this, so the big, and I don't have a lot of time to spend on this because I got a lot of other stuff to get to, and we'll talk more about it in the space. But let me tell you, this is a woman who, like I said, was rejected by her party, becomes vice president because she's queen, whatever I want to be. And then after Joe Biden seeks the nomination, earns the nomination, they just give it to her. Now, I heard Democrats are trying to be like, oh, well, it's okay, because they thought Joe Biden was awful in the last debate. They wanted to see him out. But how is Donald Trump the biggest threat to democracy when the Democrats are literally sidestepping it and just putting a candidate there that nobody even voted for? Now, of course, primaries are for the party, so they can select their best candidate to run against the other party. So it doesn't really matter. I don't know what they're thinking putting a candidate in that's probably less popular than Joe Biden. So even the Democrats I talked to, they still don't think she's going to win. What a weird thing.
Isn't there an opportunity for other people to jump in?
No. Well, no. At the convention, what's going to end up happening is at the convention, they're going to basically vote on who they want to be the nominee. Now, of course, some states are pledging delegates, but I don't know how that's going to work if the delegates are not bound to vote for her because that they only voted for her for vice president, and Joe Biden did get incapacitated and just stepped down. So I don't know what the Democrat rules are going to be. I wanted to dive into that a little bit further, but I wasn't going to have time tonight. But they'll just pick, and like Barack Obama hasn't endorsed Kamala because he says he wants the convention to decide who's going to be the nominee. Right. The whole thing is just historic. I'll be positive and say it's historic, right? But, and I'll before we go to the break, I'm going to leave you with this conspiracy theory. So let's get your tinfoil hats ready, because I'm going to leave you with this this conspiracy theory for you to ponder as we go to break. And when we come back, by the way, we're going to be joined by my good friend Seth Cheatle from Turning Point Faith. There's a big convention down in West Palm Beach. I will be there this weekend, and we're going to talk about that right after the break. Before we get our friend Sheriff Richard Mack on the show with our panel tonight. So, but tighten up your tinfoil, because here's the conspiracy theory. Now, they tried to take out Trump, whoever they are, whether it was a lone gunman or something more, last weekend. Yeah. Biden steps down this weekend. which I think was always the plan, by the way. They were always preparing to get rid of Biden. I think that international trip was an effort to embarrass him. I think that big boy press conference was an effort to embarrass him. I think they were trying to expose him. We all said that. We said, this is really odd, why all of a sudden they're showing him being like a little bit cray-cray, right? So I think they were hoping that both conventions would be brokered in a way where they wouldn't have a nominee. Therefore, both parties would be experiencing the crisis. I think they, whoever they are, wanted to get rid of both of them. And they failed, obviously, to take out Trump because he wears the armor of God. We know this. And Biden, I don't think, had a choice in the matter. After he said, I'm not getting out of this race, after he refused to get out, all of a sudden he gets, quote unquote, COVID. And then the next thing we hear from him is what did they threaten him with? You think it's Hunter? You think it's him? What do you think they threatened him with to get him to get out? Something. Yeah. So my conspiracy theory is this is all part of a sick plan. I don't know. Think about it.
I think they probably may have threatened him with Hunter and offering him a sweet deal to get Hunter off and, set himself up. And if he, Joe's not walking out without a golden parachute. You can bet on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're up to something. And anyway, Trump's going to win. That's all that matters. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break, Puppet. And when we come back, Seth Twiddle will be joining us, talk about Turning Point Faith, and then onward with the show. Puppet from your undisclosed location. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. If I can hit the play.
David Pollack here. If you're craving the best soft serve ice cream around, Topper's Creamery's got you covered. Serving the Apopka community for over a decade, Topper's is known for the finest old-fashioned custard-style soft-serve ice cream in a variety of flavors, from their French vanilla bean to exciting specials like German chocolate cake. But the experience doesn't end there. Be sure to grab a fresh baked waffle cone or a sundae topped with my favorite, the fresh baked brownies. They even offer pup cups for your four-legged friends. So hurry in to Topper's Creamery in Apopka, South 512 Hunt Club Road. Make sure to tell them David sent you.
With today's economic environment, it's never been more important to secure your hard-earned wealth for you and your family's future. FinSec Life works to offer industry-leading customer service to help successful individuals and businesses protect their wealth. Whether it's a business succession plan, estate liquidity, or a variety of life and long-term care policies, FinSec Life can help deliver peace of mind, knowing that if something happens, you or your company is taken care of. Visit finseclife.com. That's FINSEC Life.com. Securities offered through Valmark Security, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Valmark Advisors, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. FinSec Life is a separate entity from Valmark Securities, Inc. and Valmark Advisors, Inc.
Business owners, are you sick of dealing with those big-name telecommunications companies that leave you frustrated with terrible customer service and then lock you into long-term contracts? That's why I want to introduce you to my friends over at Public Telephone Company. They are an industry-leading VoIP provider offering all-in-one business communication solutions that are completely contract-free with competitive pricing. But perhaps the best part, they're all about supporting their customers with US-based customer service, and they're always willing to go the extra mile. Don't let your phone company drive you mad. Call Public Telephone Company today at 877-314-4080 or visit them at publictelephonecompany.com. That's publictelephonecompany.com.
Patriots, listen up. It's time to wake up and smell the freedom. Beard Vet Coffee is here to fuel your American spirit. This isn't just coffee. It's a battle cry in a cup, a declaration of love for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Crafted by the hands of those who've walked the walk, talked the talk, and, grown the damn beard. Vet-founded, vet-focused, and beard-operated. This is coffee with a mission, a purpose, and a testament to the unyielding American spirit. It's a tribute to the tireless resolve that courses through the veins of our great nation. This is the taste of victory, the flavor of freedom, the coffee that stands as firm as our belief in America's destiny to lead and never to kneel. Beard Vet Coffee is more than a brand. It's a legacy steeped in the principles that make America great. It's for those who stand with pride under the stars and stripes who uphold the values that light the torch of liberty for the world to see. So, are you ready to supercharge your day the American way? Beard Vet coffee is not just a choice. It's a declaration of independence from mediocre mornings. Bold, brave, unbound. Brewed for the American patriot. Beard Vet coffee. Make your mornings great again.
Make your mornings great again, guys. Also want to remind you to check out Raised Right Books. You guys hear me talk about it every single week, raisedrightbooks.org. It's a fantastic conservative children's book company. And if you want to read your kids conservative content that doesn't have subtle woke messaging, why don't you read them conservative content that has great conservative messaging with subject areas such as respecting life, a book called Save the Sprouts. There's one about law and order called Trouble at the Water Park. Talks about kids jumping the wall and not waiting online. Sound familiar? And then there's a book about the Second Amendment. It's called Clause. So there is a lot of great content in there. If you want to read your young kids books to teach them how to be great conservatives so they don't get woke, go to raisedrightbooks.org and get yourself the 3-book pack. It's affordable and it's great for your kids. So make sure you go ahead and do that, raisedrightbooks.org. Now, I know I told you I was going to bring in Seth. Seth, I'll get you in just a minute. Our special guest, Mercedes Schlapp, just got in, and I want to get her take on everything that's happened this week, all the developments. So let me bring her on. Puppy, you've met Mercedes before. Mercedes Schlapp, welcome to the David Pollack Show.
Hello. We're great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, I'm sure you've been seeing the world go into chaos in the United States over the last 7 days. They try to take out our president. Then Biden steps down. Kamala steps in. The Secret Service director seemingly has no idea what is going on, or she's covering something up. I think the latter. Every day that goes by, we find out more information about this massive failure / cover up, water towers, roofs, and people who don't know nothing. It's getting crazy out here. We don't know if Biden's alive. He apparently spoke today. We're going to go ahead and take that as somehow proof of life. He quits the campaign with a letter. Then the first remarks he has is at some Kamala speech. And by the way, both of them were at this stupid event in Delaware while our closest ally in the Middle East, Benjamin Netanyahu, comes down an airplane by himself, greeted by nobody, really, who matters in Joe Biden's cabinet. Not that any of them matter anyway. This is where we are in the state of Joe Biden's presidency. What in the world, Mercedes Schlapp? What say you?
It kind of feels a bit more like Russia than the U.S. And don't take offense to our sweet puppet friend, but, you know, it feels like the Obama, Clinton, Pelosi. They're like the puppet masters controlling the future of the Democrat Party. I mean, talk about pure chaos. And they built out a sophisticated PR campaign where they leaked on each other to take Joe Biden out. And then we don't see the president for 4 or 5 days. I mean, who the heck is running this country? I was saying, like, the way you would do it, and working in a communication shop within the White House, you would have the White House photographer take a photo of him on a balcony, or even with Jill Biden just smiling or doing something. But we have not seen the president. So apparently he did this radio interview. It's just not enough to feel that the country is being run in any way effectively. And then secondly, look, at least Biden had somewhat of an inner circle that kind of managed his brain. But I mean, Kamala Harris, she's had more staff turnover than any other of these, Biden administration cabinet secretaries, or even Joe Biden. I mean, who the heck is giving her advice? It is really troubling to watch, because what we're seeing is, Kamala Harris is not likable and she's not competent. You're getting the worst of both case scenarios here. And you're asking yourself, how is this possible? Am I in a sci-fi movie, or am I living in an alternate universe? It is absolutely insane. And we haven't even talk about this horrific Trump assassination attempt, where you have the most ineffective, inept Secret Service director who literally would just sit there and literally not even answer a question directly. And so, of course, you have conspiracy theories all over those social media, because the FBI, the Secret Service, law enforcement, they're not updating us on what's happening in this investigation. And it's becoming just so, it raises more questions than we have answers right now on who was involved in this shooting, how they've been trying to take Donald Trump out, especially when you have leftist rhetoric saying he's a threat to democracy, he's a dictator, we got to do everything we can to destroy him. And then all of a sudden we see what happened that day on July 13th, where President Trump really got so close to being assassinated that it was only through the grace of God that that man survived.
Yeah, it's just incredible, everything that's going on in the last 7 days. And I've said it repeatedly. Could you imagine if, God forbid, we lost Trump last Saturday and all this information comes out about the lapse on the roof, the multiple shooters in different places, the lack of communication between the different radio channels, then the Secret Service making the BS excuse that the roof was too sloped, even though it was less sloped than the other roof that they were on. Then the fact that the people who are supposed to be securing the event are sitting in the building where the shooter's supposedly on top of it. All of these things that goes on, and all the videos of the people pointing out to people, the fact that he was made, the Secret Service was made aware, we heard it today, was made aware that the shooter was a suspicious person an hour before Trump even took the stage. He had a rage finder. He was there with drones. I saw a video, and I don't even know if it's real or not, of a bicycle with a rifle sitting on it. I mean, this is easily one of the biggest conspiracies in American history.
I mean, we talk about the JFK assassination where they still have not released all of those files. And then all of a sudden we're faced with assassination attempt on President Trump's life. I mean, you got to ask yourself, what is really behind this? We've seen that the CIA was involved with outside intelligence agencies to take down many of Donald Trump's operatives. And this was during the 2016 election. And then that all comes out. So look, there is not, the American people are struggling to trust the FBI, just trust the CIA. After listening to the Secret Service director, goodness gracious, you can't even trust her with your life. Then you're talking about the fact that you've seen these reports where you've seen when it was Jill Biden going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I'm sure there was maybe 50 people there, if they're lucky. She had 12 personnel that they had approved, that the Secret Service approved to go.
Yeah.
When it was Donald Trump going to, I believe, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they only approved 3 personnel. They requested several times that they would get additional support from Secret Service. Secret Service said no. We saw what happened with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., where they denied him Secret Service protection time and time again. The only ones getting protection here are the Bidens. And now, obviously, Kamala Harris. And it is, you have to ask yourself, is this politically motivated? Why in no way can they have been able to protect Donald Trump? And it is, let me tell you, I'm concerned that it could happen again. And I hope to God they do everything they can to ensure the complete protection of President Trump and of J.D. Vance and of the Trump family as well. This feels more that we're like in Russia than we are in the U.S. I mean, it's what Putin does to his enemies. He literally shoots them out of the sky. It's what he does. Literally, he throws people, out of hotel windows in Great Britain. This is the stuff that he does. And to watch that they have time and time the Democrats have gone after President Trump with the lawfare, with trying to throw him into jail, trying to bankrupt him. I mean, you can't help but wonder like how obsessive they are to make sure that Donald Trump does not step into the White House. It's why like we cannot fall asleep at the wheel here. Every single day has to be a fight to make sure that we win these votes. We have to push forward with election integrity and make sure the process is going to be fair and not rigged. And look, the Republican Party better be ready to do this. And it's why CPAC is going to move forward with ballot monitoring in many of these precincts, because people end up putting in hundreds of ballots into many of these places, and it just becomes a big issue. And so I think, look, we should all just be very aware that times are not what they used to be. It is going to be very tough, very divisive, very ugly from now through Election Day.
Yeah, Puppet.
And to boot on all that, Mercedes, they can't even answer a straight question. They won't even answer a straight question. Every question is met with some obtuse answer, some obfuscation, some platitude, or just flippant response, and then done. Like, walk away, no more questions, no answers. It's just unbelievable, and they just continue to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not only do they not answer the questions, but then you have an elite media that's been very much coddling Joe Biden and his team for a long time. And then on top of that, when they finally got upset because they felt that, that the Biden White House was covering up his mental decline, and then started asking all these questions about Joe Biden, we weren't getting real answers. They called it cheap fakes, these videos, right? They were cheap fakes. No, what you're seeing is not really what you're seeing. And so they've, Biden, including Kamala, including that Biden inner circle, that campaign, they have covered up for Joe Biden since day one. We've seen the mental decline. Anyone with half a brain would recognize that, yes, that he should not be president anymore. And then, of course, the pressure came on that he's got to step aside when it comes to running for president. And so that's where we are today.
I want to ask you about that. So Kamala, and I said before the break, Kamala couldn't even get off the ground in her primary. And primaries are for you picking your strongest candidate. I'd argue Kamala's probably your weakest candidate. Well, not ours, but their weakest candidate. What do you think? Do you think Trump has a better chance of beating her? Is this a win for us? What do you think happened?
So this is how the Democrats are going to set this up. And it was actually a reporter who a reporter who's a friend of mine, not one of the horrible ones, but he literally told me, he goes, the setup is the prosecutor versus the convicted felon. So that's how they're going to play their cards, right? They're going to say, here she is, this tough prosecutor from California, and Donald Trump is a criminal, so we're going to take him out. So look, I think for Kamala, Biden could only put half a sentence together, and Kamala can put about 2 sentences together. But she is going to be and this is putting it in like relative terms, she will be a better communicator. She's not a great communicator, but she'll be a better communicator than Joe Biden. I think the debate clearly showed that Biden was, the Democrats were appalled by his performance. They knew at that point, we got to move him out. That's when the process started. And so they're hoping that Kamala could, take up the mantle and just basically, be more effective in punching back at President Trump, right? This is all going to be about trying to demonize President Trump, and they're going to use her as a messenger. Now, they couldn't skip over her. That definitely wasn't, I didn't see that happening, because even from moving the money from the Biden campaign over to, it really could only go to Kamala Harris, right? So I think everyone's going to be looking at who does she pick as vice president? Not that a vice president in any way helps a ticket or not, but I think that's going to be an interesting pick. I think you could watch like a Senator Mark Kelly, who's married to, Gabby Guilford, who survived the shooting.
Yeah,
he's obviously, a former NASA astronaut. He comes across being quote unquote a moderate, despite the fact that he's voted with Chuck Schumer, 99% of the time. But, they're going to find someone who might be a little more likable, a little more what they call centrist. I don't believe that the party's centrist anymore. And so that's what we have to look out for. Or they could pick North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper as well. So there's some options that they're looking at for their vice presidential pick. Again, I don't think that does very much for the party, because I think Kamala Harris owns every single failure of Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm actually happy about, that it wasn't some third person, because she still has to answer for that record.
Yeah.
And she's the border czar, the worst border ever that we've had in modern history. She's responsible for.
Right.
And so now, Biden might not be in the race, but you're right. She's still accountable. I love that. And I think we're going to beat her just as we're going to beat Biden. You can't stop Trump at this point. The hands of God are on him. The army wears the armor of God, and the country is behind him. Every single day, more and more people get behind Trump, because his messaging, his policy, and his record, it speaks for itself. Mercedes, if people want to hear from you more, I'm like, man, I love everything Mercedes Schlapp has to say. And I'm sure they already know you, and they're like, I see her from CPAC and everywhere else and on Newsmax. But if they want to come and hear more from you, where should they go to find you?
So, I'm on obviously the social media channels at Mercedes Schlapp. You can also follow at CPAC. We do top news from CPAC as well. We're really trying to break through, as you do as well, in trying to send out important conservative news and messaging so you can bypass the crazy left media because they're not reporting the news as they should. There's no objectivity. And so I think the key is, CPAC has really expanded not only here nationally, and it continues to grow. It's the largest conservative organization here in the U.S., but we've now expanded internationally. Yeah. We're actually holding at my house the International Summit Against Human Trafficking. We're having a reception tonight where we have members from different countries coming in. We're fighting against human trafficking. We're working on saving our children, basically pushing back on big tech that allows for all this disgusting content to show that. And it's really been amazing to work on all these incredible state and federal pieces of legislation to basically stop human traffickers and protect the victims. And that's a big issue. One of the big issues that CPAC is working on.
Yeah, great organization, great work that you do, and we really appreciate it. We love having you on the show. You've been on the show a bunch of times. I know Puppet's a huge fan of yours.
Well, thank you, Puppet. Anytime.
I'm a big Damise fan.
You need like a female Puppet, like you need like the girlfriend, like the conservative girlfriend.
Well, that's where he was. So the reason why he's all funky looking right now, he was at the ventriloquist convention. Swear to you, true story.
Okay.
And so because Puppet was at the ventriloquist convention looking for women, so that's where puppets go to meet women. So he's in an undisclosed location on the road. So we're lucky to be able to have him. So maybe we will have a Puppet Carlson girlfriend here.
Oh, I love that. That sounds very romantic. Make sure, fall in love, get married, keep us posted.
Yeah, we got to make conservative puppet babies.
That sounds like a plan.
Out of my pillows. It'll be
all right.
Weird.
All right, take care. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for everything you do. We'll see you again real soon.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Oh, Puppet. All right. Well, now I want, as I promised, she's great. We love having her on the show. Her organization does such great work. Now, talking about another organization that does great work, I'm sure you guys have heard of Turning Point USA. Now, there's Turning Point Faith, which is the faith-based organization affiliated with Turning Point, and they're having a huge convention or conference, I guess we could call it, in Palm Beach. We love the conference. I was at Turning Point Turning Point Action Conference in Palm Beach about a year ago. It was a great event. Here, let me put up the flyer for you here. So if I can get my tech working. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's a ton of speakers at the Believer Summit. You can get tickets. Tickets are ridiculously affordable, guys. It's like with the promo code BELIEVE, I believe they're like $20, and that includes tax and everything. So it's a cheap event. Well, cheap. It's an inexpensive event for you to get to and be around a lot of believers who also want to save America. Can you tell us a little bit about what they can come and expect this weekend at the summit?
Yeah, man. So if you're not familiar with Turning Point USA Faith, it started really with Charlie Kirk and Rob McCoy in 2020, who saw, the world being destroyed more than ever before. And they asked themselves, where's the church? Where are pastors? Where's the Christians? Where are believers? And they looked around and there was no one. No one to stand up for our rights, no one to stand up for truth, no one to stand up for biblical principles. And so that's why Turning Point USA Faith was started, because we need to equip believers, equip people, and empower them to go out and engage the public sphere and be really like Jesus. Whenever the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, in John 10:10, it says that Jesus is the one who really stands in the gap. And that's where pastors, churches, believers, really everyone needs to be. So that's why we're having this conference, is to equip and empower the everyday person to understand biblical principles, where we get them from, and even our principles of liberty and constitutionality and our constitutional representative republic. Where does that come from? Where do those ideas come from? And how do we defend them in a world of darkness? And we believe that everywhere Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy, we need to stand in the gap. And that's why the theme of the conference is Here I Am. In the scripture, you have two types of people. When God calls you to stand in the gap, those people that are AWOL and go and cower and just let the devil do what he wants with our children and kill our babies, whatever else it is. Or there's people that says, here I am, I will speak for the Lord, I will act for the Lord, I will stand up for these biblical principles. And that's what we need in America today. Sin is destroying the world more than ever before, but the answers are ours. We have hope. We have the gospel. We have the Bible and all these amazing principles of liberty. We have an amazing constitution that's different than anything else the world has ever known. And we would be fools to not be good stewards with what God has given us. So we are here to really show the people our duty and how you're not alone. So many times we stand up for truth and righteousness and we feel like we're all alone. We get the Elijah syndrome, woe is me. But when you come to a place like this, a conference like the Believer Summit, you see there's thousands of people like-minded that come together and develop these relationships. And that's what we want to do, is start a catalyst of action, start a catalyst of relationships where we can find godly men and women who have the same principles as we do and link arm in arm to go and start voter registration drives or pastor roundtables, or get churches to not to actually play nice together and see that we're on the same team for the same goal and same purpose. And that's why the Believer Summit's going on. But right now, yeah, tickets are up to $75, but you can get 25% off that with the code Seth25. It's going on in West Palm Beach, July 26th through 28th, and the doors open at 5 p.m. on that Friday. So I hope to see you guys there.
I guess tickets going up because you're selling so many. That's awesome. Well, they were.
Yeah, man.
But it's a great event. I encourage everybody to go and check it out. I'll be there, and I look forward to seeing you there as well. And yeah, everybody go check out the Believer Summit. I'll throw this up on the screen again for you. Great speakers there. So to go and check it out. And that's it. We will see you. And that's what's so great about these organizations like CPAC, like yours, is that you can get around like-minded people and really get motivated to save America. So thank you for coming on today.
TPUSAFaith.com. And TPUSA Faith events. Yep.
All right. So TPUSAFaith.com. And is that where they can get the tickets?
Yeah, TPUSAFaithevents.com. You can get the tickets there.
Perfect. And what was that promo code again to save 25%? Can you give your code out again?
25. SETH 25.
All right. Save yourself some money in Joe Biden's economy, guys. Seth, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate you being here.
Right on, guys. Thanks.
All right, good night.
Bye-bye, man.
That's gonna be That's gonna be a fun event. Yeah, hopefully you come with me there, Puppet. We're gonna be going out there, so we'll talk about that after the show. All right. Without further ado, I got to bring in the panel tonight. Yeah. And but first up, and as I previewed earlier, we're really excited to have Sheriff Richard Mack. He is the president of the CSPOA. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I'm excited to have you because we're going to be talking about this crime scene that gets weirder and weirder by the second. Before I talk about that, I also want to bring in our other panelist. Her name is Ali Leger. If you guys haven't seen her before, you should have. Ali Leger is the Director of Civic Engagement for Moms for America. She's also the co-host of Homefront and Mom View. She's been busy, but she still comes and does our show, which we appreciate because she has to, or else I'll guilt trip her. I'm really good at that. So thank you for being here tonight. What's that?
I said, and she loves me.
I do, Puppet.
She pretends.
Although you sound like you're in a bathroom stall somewhere.
I am.
So I'm going to show this video, and we're going to go a little bit longer, guys. I know I'm going a little bit long tonight, but I want to cover a lot of things. So if y'all have the time, I want to talk about this new evidence coming in about the Trump attempted assassination, and I want to talk about these Cheatle hearings today. So we got a lot to cover. First, let's look at this video.
We're not close. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm up here on the building where the supposed sniper took his shot. It's not that steep at all. Just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the roof easily. See that water tower behind me? Had Secret Service or anybody had sniper teams up there, this guy wouldn't have made it 5 feet up this roof. He would have been taken out. Behind me, you see the windows that Secret Service was supposedly in the second floor of this building behind. Makes you wonder why they weren't able to quickly dispatch the individual. And then behind me, back over here where those red roofs are, that's where the stage was set up. That's where the president was giving his speech from. A lot of questions here in Butler, but we look forward to doing oversight and getting to the bottom of it and making sure it never happens again.
Sheriff, I want to go to you first. all the information you heard me talking to Mercedes about, you probably heard me in the first segment. This never should have happened. I mean, this never should have happened. I don't want to relitigate every single thing that's happened, but he had a rangefinder. He was discovered. He was reported as a suspicious person. They didn't put a sniper on a roof that they identified as a moment of vulnerability. Didn't have anybody stationed supposedly on the water tower, although there's some discussion about somebody actually being positioned on the water tower. Who was that? And then you see this video where literally the law enforcement was staged right in front of the roof where the sniper was shooting from. Had somebody manned that position or had been on the roof, they would have seen him all day long. So what in the world, as a former sheriff, a retired sheriff, what is going on? What's going on?
Well, I had the opportunity to work with the Secret Service back when I was sheriff. It was actually 1996 when Pat Buchanan was running for president, and he visited our community in Southeast Arizona. And you know what? The plan is theirs. The plan doesn't belong to the county sheriff or the Butler PD or the sheriff's office. It's all us working and helping them. And the perimeter, the security perimeter, lacked any type of real efficiency. And for the Secret Service not to cover the tower or to cover that building, they should have been on top of that roof, not crooks, not the shooter, not the attempted assassin. And well, I guess we can say now the dead assassin. But the citizens saw this guy with a rifle. They reported it to the police. A police officer got up on the side of the roof and saw the suspect, and the suspect turned to point the rifle at him. He went down, and he kind of sprained his ankle or something. Right then, those officers should have shot at him, or just shot some warning shots.
Yeah.
And I know in law enforcement training for firearms, you're not supposed to give warning shots. This time you should have, because that would have alerted every single law enforcement officer, including the Secret Service, that it was time to get the president the hell out of there. And any shots fired, Trump would have been taken off the stage and put in the vehicle, the Suburban, and 3 vehicles following him. He would have been out of there. But there is so much that is so egregiously wrong here that it makes you wonder if some of this was done intentional. And I'm not the conspiracy guy. I'm just looking at the facts as they are now. And this was too stupid. This was too incompetent just to go and say, oh, well, yeah, we made a few mistakes. There's no way. And if you don't have enough manpower, then go to the neighboring city or the neighboring county and get that sheriff to provide it. They would have all been totally willing and happy to be there. But this was a huge lapse of security protocols. And again, this is too much, especially the sniper that was looking like they ended up shooting the suspect. He looked like he was looking right at him.
Yeah.
And then a shot was fired and he looked above his sights. He looked above his sights and goes, oh, well, and then shot at him. I want to know what he was looking at before. And no, this is not a time where you wait for the suspect to fire. If you have a man on a roof with a gun, you don't wait to see what he's doing with that gun. You don't have to give him warning. You don't do anything. You take him out. You neutralize that threat right then and there. And by God, this was a miracle that Trump survived it. But this was, the Keystone Cops are even worse. And this is absolutely inexcusable.
Now, Allie, you've heard the sheriff, and you've also heard everybody else that has any experience in law enforcement. You've heard from people who do physical security at places, people who've been on protection details. You've heard from law enforcement. You heard the director of Secret Service blame the slope of the roof, or even blame local law enforcement.
The slope of the roof.
Yeah, you saw them immediately reject it. They're blowing whistles left and right, saying something's up. Allie, is this complete negligence, or is it something worse? Is it complete negligence because of something worse? And is this cover? What's your take? What do you think?
I want to go with option C. I think it's complete negligence with something worse. I mean, you can't be this negligent and not be intentional. It just doesn't make any sense. This is intentional negligence. And the fact that she has had 9 days to go through all of the evidence so far and literally come extremely underprepared to a congressional hearing. And the only thing she could say is, I don't know, or I can't answer that because of the ongoing investigation. Lady, you are the director of Secret Service. The FBI is having an investigation. You cannot tell me that you were not briefed beforehand. And if you were not, then what the hell are you even doing? What are they even telling you? Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. I was so frustrated watching that entire.
Can I chime in one other thing?
Of course.
Why is that crime scene open to the public right now?
Yeah.
Who the hell is on the roof? What in the world are they doing? Hey, are we selling tickets to go to the crime scene now?
Dude,
what is going on?
It's been 9 days and she has not stepped 1 foot by that crime scene. And that is telling. I mean, to see both Democrats and Republicans essentially be on the same side here with this whole situation is just, I was like, okay, well, at least we're getting somewhere. But my God, I can't with this. We cannot take this. She's got to resign. She needs to be impeached, and then we need to go after Mayorkas because.
I don't want the name to change on the door. That's all this usually is.
That's
right.
exactly right.
The DEA. I don't trust the FBI to do a thorough investigation here. So what the hell do we do?
Well, when government investigates itself, nothing ever happens. We've noticed that, and we've known that. We've been known that for a really long time. And the fact that we can't trust the FBI to do pretty much anything is quite ridiculous. So making sure that we have an independent investigation is really important. But who is going to do that? Congress?
I can get you a team of sheriffs to do it.
We should get a team of sheriffs to do this entire investigation. I love the fact that, is it Brandon Herrera or Brian Herrera from Texas? I believe he was a candidate. I don't know if he's elected or not. It's been a while, but he actually did ballistics to recreate this shooting. And it is mind blowing that we have candidates and congressional people, representatives that are actually conducting their own investigations, and we get zero from those that are supposedly doing an investigation so far. She could have come and given a preliminary, report. It didn't have to, yes, this is the information we have up to this point, but please remember that it is still under investigation. That I would have accepted. And I think most of Congress would have accepted.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Cheatle testimony Cheatle, I think that's her name, in just a couple of minutes. And Puppet, with everything that's happening, all the new information coming out, I mean, do you think an FBI that's trying to put Trump in jail is going to be steadfast in the investigation into who left the door open for him to be taken out? What do you think?
Of course not. And I think Allie, said this guy's
it's ridiculous
investigation because you can't trust these people to investigate anything. They never answer a straight question. They never look into anything. Nobody's ever held accountable. And now we have another scenario where the things just don't add up. It's a complete and utter shit show. And, she doesn't have anything to say about it. And so even in front of Congress, and it's like somebody's got to do something on their own. And that's why they're doing their own investigation. That's why the people are up on the roof. Although they shouldn't be on the roof. Someone was shot and killed on that roof. I mean, attempted assassination of the president of the United States. If this was some random person on the street, you wouldn't be able to get to that crime scene. But somehow this one, it's got an all access pass. It's crazy.
Well, I liked what Sheriff said. Like, how did Overwatch not see that? Apparently there was Overwatch on this roof, right? They had people from 140 yards away that were behind President Trump on their own sloped roof. That was a whole lot more sloped than this one. And how did they not see him? How did the FBI that was supposedly inside this building not hear him? There are way too many questions than we do have answers. But I do want to say this one thing. So and I posted this earlier. So the statement, denial doesn't equal vulnerability by the USS director is the same as correlation doesn't equal causation by the CDC and Dr. Fauci. It's literally just a statement of gaslighting to make people not be held accountable for the things that they do. It's literally the statement.
Now let me get to. Wait, was that you, Puppet, or is that? Am I hearing things? Let me get to. I want to pull up a clip today from the Cheatle testimony today. I'm trying to figure out. This is, you know what? This is Nancy Mace. Let's go with Nancy Mace's testimony today.
I liked her. She was so
yeah,
badass.
She was fun.
Earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your.
Yeah, Sheriff Mack, let me ask you.
I was cracking up on that one. That was good.
Yeah, so she doesn't even, she can't even keep a draft of her opening statement secret. Who the heck trusts her? What do you think? Is Congresswoman Mace correct? Is this all bullshit, sir?
Mace called it straight, man. She, of course it is. You know, what a joke. Just like the FBI had CNN go with them on a SWAT team raid to get Stone, you know, in his a white collar crime, never been arrested before, but it takes 26 FBI agents and a SWAT team to go get him at 6 o'clock in the morning on a stupid white collar crime. And so this has all been so ridiculous. The FBI should be abolished. The Secret Service needs to be retrained and understand that they are not political, that you don't let the Republican candidate who none of the Democrats like and they all hate and they want to get rid of him. So you don't turn your back on a real threat. And I would tell Trump, you need to get your own team. You can still use the Secret Service, but get your own team. No more outdoor events and inside events. I actually worked security on one of his events back 4 years ago when he was running for 2020. And it was indoors and it was a huge facility. And I'm telling you, this is too much of a threat towards him. I said it before. Advertising where he's going and trying to get these crowds and their outdoor events, it's too dangerous. There's too many kooks and nuts and Democrats out there that want to do him in. And I give a shout out to Jack Black for abandoning the tour when his partner said, man, it's too bad that he wasn't a better shot. This kind of rhetoric is what caused this in the first place. And no way would I ever suggest, no matter how much I dislike a politician, that somebody should take them out. No way. No one should be doing that. And we need to tone it down. And the Democrats have always said that the Republicans need to. Let's clean your own nose and let's take care of this. One other thing I would suggest to Trump, because I think Mercedes is correct. Trump should be also comparing history to what he's going through. Martin Luther King was arrested over 30 times. And he never committed a single crime. Rosa Parks was arrested for not giving her seat to a white man. She was arrested by government. The battle for freedom in America and throughout the world has always been against corrupt government. Trump is fighting the same battle that Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks fought, and he should be able to make that comparison and draw that comparison and put these corrupt politicians in the Democrat Party in their place.
Now, Allie, before I go to the comment, I have one more clip from today's hearing. This is a long one. I'm probably going to cut it short, but it's worth listening to. Hold on a second. This is, I believe this is Rep. Fallon.
Allen from Texas.
How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it? Director Cheatle, in your leadership, your agency got outsmarted and outmaneuvered by a 20-year-old. How can we have any confidence that you could stop a trained professionals from a nefarious nation state?
Those are absolutely questions that we need to have.
I know they're
answers
questions,
to.
but the fact of the matter is we can't have that confidence. Director, do you have the ability personally, and do you have the authority to beef up security of any of your protectees?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So were you also aware there was a credible threat President Trump was facing? He was facing a heightened security threat to a foreign adversary?
Yes.
Okay. So given that there was an increased threat to President Trump's life, was he provided a full security complement akin to what a sitting U.S. president would receive?
He was provided a full complement of security based on the threat assessment that we had.
That's not my question.
And the venue.
My question is, if he'd been the sitting president, would he have had the same security he had on July 13th, or would have been beefed up?
There is a difference between the sitting president
So your answer is he didn't.
and continuity of government and the responsibility
So he
that we
did
have.
not. Okay, there wasn't a CAT team, a full CAT team on site. There wasn't counter surveillance teams on site. But this is the thing. You just said you had the ability to beef up the security. You knew about the threat, and you didn't. And that's as telling as it is chilling. We have satellite images from the Butler Fairgrounds. Have you visited the site?
No, I have not.
9 days and you have not visited the site. You should have been there that night. Did you?
This is what you were saying, Allie.
Yes.
I mean, and he goes on and on. I mean, he really does lay out the best. I might post a whole, actually, 5-minute video on my X feed because it's worth watching. The way he broke it apart and all the incompetence is really laid out nicely, Allie. What? I don't even know.
I mean,
Right? I mean, what the hell?
Today. Like, that's all I gotta say. Nancy May stinks. Like, because she said the sentiment. She is full of shit today. Like, legit. Like, I literally, I have nothing. I have no words. The entire time I watched this whole thing, the only time I was more frustrated was when the Democrats used this congressional hearing to tout racism and to tout gun control. Guys, you missed the assignment. That is not what the hearing was about. The hearing was about the complete catastrophic failure of the person sitting in front of you who claims to be the best in the field, the perfect one for the job, Miss Doritos. Okay, this is not this. Just I'm at a loss. I'm so angry.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It doesn't make any sense, and the fact that we have more questions than we do answers is so much more frustrating. I mean, does she not take it seriously that not only was a former president literally shot, but there was a citizen who was killed and 2 were injured? Like, does that not strike some kind of chord within her to, like, just say, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to give you the answers that I have because you deserve it and the American people deserve it and their families deserve it? No, she decided to gatekeep and protect whoever else is at the top, because we all know Mayorkas is involved in this. He has to sign off on everything that she does. So I think they should just bring down the hammer. She needs to be held in congressional contempt, and her salary needs to be reduced to $1 until she can answer some freaking questions.
Now, Puppet, let me ask you, do you think, I mean, obviously she was either hiding her incompetence or hiding something more. She wasn't answering questions. I mean, what was your take on the way she literally either knew nothing or pretended she knew nothing? I mean, she seemed like a dummy, doesn't she? And I know you're an expert on dummies, so.
And she is a dummy, and she is a puppet as well. All of these people do the same exact thing. They all obfuscate and answer with what they believe to be ninja language, judo language. They turn the language around and try to answer questions without answering. Typical politician type responses. But this is the head of the Secret Service that A, couldn't protect the Republican candidate for president, a former president, and B, couldn't keep her opening statement secret. So she's pretty much the worst Secret Service head in the history of the universe, because she is pathetic at secrets and she is pathetic at protection. So what the hell good is she? And then she can't even answer a question, hasn't been to the crime scene, is obviously lying and obfuscating, because behind the scenes somebody is running the show. Somebody told her to not to say this or to do that, and she's a just like Fauci, just like the rest of them. They're complete and utter liars.
I mean, at a couple points, Puppet, it looked like she was looking at her paper to read statements, right? Like it wasn't a filled piece of paper with like words on it, like that you could see. It looked like a half sheet of paper, maybe a couple of sentences were at the very top, and it was hidden by the name placard that's sitting up there. But it really did look like she was using her pen to follow along with some of the words that were on the paper to just put forth a statement, so she could at least seem like she was acquiescing to their requests. But in all honesty, this is a national security issue. As someone that pays for her salary, someone that pays for our representatives, they're not safe either. Okay,
yes,
with Capitol Police and Secret Service up there, none of them are safe. And so, how can they continue to operate within these parameters of not being or feeling safe? It's just
she's Korean John Cheatle.
If I were anyone in Congress, I would show up tomorrow with my own weapon.
she just does exactly what KJP does.
I would. If I was a sitting rep, I would show up with my own weapon because I do not feel that Secret Service could protect my life.
To protect yourself, yes. You did it to protect yourself. Yes, that's very important. Now,
literally, the citizens pointing out the shooter did more than the Secret Service did.
Wait, and then so Congress had all of the answers. They knew timeline before she knew. She had timeline. She's like, I don't have specific timeline. And you have congressional members talking about this time to this time, and it was 49 minutes and 5 minutes beforehand. And she's sitting there like a sitting duck, like, oh well, I didn't know that. How did you not know that?
Now, Sheriff, you know a lot about protecting people. Tell me a little bit before we wrap. Tell me about what the CSPOA is working on right now, and how you and your sheriffs are keeping America safe in light of the government's seemingly failure to do it.
Well, we're actually having a conference in Orlando on September 7th, and everyone's invited to that. And we're going to get hundreds of sheriffs there, so that the sheriffs can take charge of what's going on and stand against the tyranny and incursions of all the bureaucracies in Washington, D.C. that can no longer be trusted. And that we need to make this clear that the sheriffs need to establish safety protocols for the people in their counties against the greatest threat to our Constitution and the greatest threat to America. And that's the United States government right now. That's the federal government. How do we trust the DEA? How do we trust the FBI? How do we trust, wow, for heaven's sakes, the IRS is allowed to come into our counties and do anything they damn well please? And obviously, again, we have another hearing going on, and Cheatle sits there and makes excuses and sticks to her talking points, and doesn't even know how her statement got out to the press. And this lady doesn't know anything, and she should have gone there. And even Democrats and Republicans alike are asking her to resign, and she's saying no. That's the only clear answer we got from her. So the CSPOA, folks, CSPOA.org, is establishing the protocols to take back our country, county by county, one good sheriff at a time, as we now build, just like Madison said, erect the barriers against the encroachments of the national authority. We have no place else to go. When government becomes venile and oppressive, to whom can the American people turn for peace, safety, protection, and liberty? And that is, my friends, the good county constitutional sheriff.
Yes, it is.
And all of you can become members. Go to CSPOA.org and become a member of our CSPOA posse so that you can work in getting your sheriff involved and be on his posse.
Now, we look forward to that event in Orlando. And if you would like to come back on before then, promote the event, we'd love to have you back. We love when people do their events in Florida,
Yes,
because we have the best place for them. We have friendly.
Well, you're invited.
Well, I'll be there. The invitation accepted.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the beautiful girl.
Oh,
thank you.
Oh, you are too. And Puppet, we'd love to have you. Everybody, all of you are welcome. Just get more information at CSPOA.org. Stands for Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. And one thing you might not know is that when I was sheriff, I sued the Clinton administration and won a case at the United States Supreme Court. The miracle is I sued the Clintons and I lived to tell about it.
Oh,
Wow.
my
For
goodness,
now,
that is a miracle.
be careful. You got to call your
Yeah,
buddies.
don't tell him I said that.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to, actually Puppet has some, I believe, is he a sheriff, your Puppet friend? Or just, yeah, you have a sheriff Puppet friend, don't you, Puppet?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he'll be there. Yeah, so we'll definitely, we'll see. Now, you're welcome to come back on once the details start coming together. Send me whatever you have. We'll promote it for you. We want to do our part to help you, sir. And we appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Remember, everybody, CSPOA.org, right?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. And we want Charlie Kirk and everybody, we want them to get involved with this.
Yeah, well, we'll do what we can
Great
to spread
idea.
the word. And look, we're going on to a Twitter X Space here after the show where we continue the conversation. You're welcome to join us if you want to stick around and continue the conversation. No pressure. The invitation's there for you. That's where we go after the show to chat with our audience and get their take on everything that they weren't able to provide in the comments. So we appreciate you being here. Ali Leger, Sheriff, we are so appreciative, Sheriff Mack, and Puppet Carlson from your undisclosed location. As always, we always have so much fun on this show, and I can't wait to see you back on here and talk about this great event coming up and everything your organization is doing. Guys, stay tuned because this is only going to get weirder as we get closer and closer to November. I mean, this is 2024. If you remember 2020, we had riots, we had diseases, and I mean, listen,
That's right.
a president dropping out and one almost getting assassinated is nothing compared to a worldwide pandemic and riots all over the country. They are not done yet. They want to take away our free, open, and democratic process, and we're here to fight it, right, Sheriff?
If Trump wins, what does November 6th look like?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know.
That's
you
right.
know what it looks like, and your
That's
buddies
right.
better be ready to protect us because what
That's
it's
why
gonna
we're
look like.
meeting on September 7th.
That's a great idea because in France, the communists won and they still rioted.
They did.
Wild. It's definitely something we keep an eye on. Well, guys, thanks again for watching. Everybody at home, everybody on the Pill chat, to Wild Irish, thank you so much for moderating over there. And thanks for everybody in the chat. You're the best part of the show. And over to the X audience that's in the space. We'll see you in just a minute. Thank you guys again for being on the show, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody. I'll have my microphone back next week. My stupid soundboard's still broken. I'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye.